Okay. Good morning, composition 2. Every time I try to start the same way, but it's not working out the last couple days trying to do this recording. To be honest, I always say to my students, if you have a good excuse, tell me right away, and then we'll work something out, okay? So same goes for professors. If I don't get my work done, it's on me. But sometimes there are things that you can't control, like being sick, or a death in the family, or the coronavirus. It's not something that we expected to deal with off and on. Basically, we're doing everything online, and that's working out okay. But in my case, I have a daughter and a son. They're in daycare and kindergarten, and you may or may not know, some of you are living in Daejeon, some of you are not, but on Sunday we had some cases here. It's actually in my neighborhood. I'm not infected, and nobody in my apartment complex, as far as I know, has been taken away, but the apartment complex next to mine, there were some people taken by ambulance to the hospital because they caught the coronavirus. This is the closest I have been to exposure. Hopefully we have only 24,000 cases. I say only because of other countries being much worse. But hopefully you haven't been that close to it, but it kind of throws everything into chaos in your neighborhood if you have a few cases. So long story short, my children have been home since Monday, and this has made it very difficult to record anything. I did my Zoom classes. Some of you are in my conversation class, and those went surprisingly well. My dog didn't bark, and my kids didn't run in the room. But right now they are trying to be quiet, but one is 3 and one is 6. So 30 minutes is probably about the limit. If you hear any screaming in the background, crying or laughing, that's just daily life in my house, okay? So we're just going to keep going, and hopefully everything goes well. I've tried to start this recording several times today, and I'm just going to keep going despite any disturbances from outside or next to me, okay? So here we go. I've gotten through about half of the composition assignments. My expectation is that I will send you a grade and some comments about your first assignment, your first paper, your first one-page assignment that I asked you to do about the origin of a food. I think I mentioned already to you through the video lecture that I was pleased with some of them. Some of them have really taken a certain perspective and analyzed the effect of a certain food, which is exactly what I wanted. So for the most part, that's what you need to do with the second assignment as well. I've already posted it on the website. So your approach to writing the second paper should be the same. You need to be critical of the topic, not just summarize something or just present information, as they tend to do in this book. As I told you, this book has been published by National Geographic, and I think it's good that National Geographic doesn't take a perspective, especially not a political one or a social one. They're just trying to give you information about something, and mostly they just discuss the facts and the background and the story, and they let you decide what you want to think about it. But that's not what I want you to learn how to do when you're writing, because it is part of being an English major. In this class, whether you're in another major or not, this class is basically designed to help you improve your critical thinking skills and to develop your argumentation through writing. Okay, so remember, whatever your style, whether you decide to add humor to it or make try to surprise your reader, which is me, or you try to shock or emphasize, whatever your strategy is for making it interesting, that's really not the main criteria I use to grade you. I'm the content, the organization, and the argument are the main things that I'm concerned with. It's very difficult for somebody to say, well, the humorous paper is better than the shocking paper, because that's really a subjective thing. So the objective things are more important to do well, because that's how I'm going to judge how well you write. Some students were asking, how can I improve my writing? Well, that's what we're trying to do, class by class. Hopefully you're taking notes and trying to incorporate, put the things, the ideas, and the advice that I give you into your writing. That's how we're trying to develop your writing skills. So today, of course, we are going into a new chapter, and the topic is basically it's about rites of passage. The chapter is about reaching a certain point in your life and what changes occur, what the effects are into your lifestyle and your behavior when you reach that point. Every other year, I chose to give you a topic already on a different topic, but one of the topics that I usually offer or assign, I shouldn't say offer, it's not a choice. The one of the topics I usually assign is this one. Last year, not last semester, but last year when I taught Composition 2, I had the students write a paper on a rite of passage. So originally when I saw this topic, I guess it's partly because it's just a bunch of girls celebrating 15th birthday, and it's all pink, and they're dressed like princesses and stuff, and I think the picture is meant to convey sort of extreme excitement of that, and energy of the girls at that age, that it sort of reminded me, I think, when I got to this chapter, of my own experiences in high school. And for the most part, I think I didn't really like high school. I didn't really come of age when I was 15. When I was 15, I had a hard time. And as I went through high school, I think when I got to university, when I turned 19, I finally started to become more comfortable with myself. And so most of the pictures of me when I'm 15, I think some of them I actually destroyed them. Now you don't have to destroy them, you just delete them, because they're usually digital. But when I was that age, 20 years ago or so, we actually had photos. So if you didn't like a photo of yourself at the time or later, you just rip it up and throw it away. So some of these moments in our life are tough and difficult, and some of them are celebrations. This particular article, it takes the positive approach that reaching an age is something to be happy about, and that is, I think, the normal attitude, especially in Korean culture. You get to 100 days, and you have a party for the child, because basically you're happy that the child, in the past, the child might have gotten sick and not made it to 100 days. So that was a first benchmark for a Korean person. And then 1 year, and you still have these celebrations. A 1 year anniversary is, in Korea, usually one of the most important birthdays, the first birthday. And we of course in Canada, where I'm from, we celebrate the first birthday, but I don't have special pictures or a gold ring or like a ceremony or, you know, all of my friends, like 100 people coming to a restaurant for my first birthday. It was a very low-key event. Of course, my parents were very happy, and my brother was on the way, I think, soon. He's less than 2 years younger than me. So, you know, the family was celebrating the first child getting to 1 year, but there was no big, huge event, and there isn't like hundreds of pictures of me on my first birthday. There's like 3 pictures. And but my children, when they got to 1 year, they got a special dress, and they had a table laid out with all these decorations and took pictures, and family and friends joined us, and they got to choose the items. If you're Korean, you're probably familiar with this practice. And then you go through the years, as far as I know, and none of them are particularly important until you get to 60. And then when you get to 60, that's a big deal too, because, you know, traditionally that age would have been a real achievement. To live 60 years meant you were, you know, blessed, that you had a long life, and that you should be recognized for that longevity. Now 60 still is a big deal. I know, because my father-in-law and mother-in-law went through that benchmark, and at that age you give much bigger present. You know, you just give a little bit of money or a small present when they turn 59, and when they hit 60, you got to buy something like a TV, or you take them. In my case, one of them, it's true, the father got a new television, which we paid for, and my mother-in-law we took her to Vietnam, and we paid. My family paid. That's something that is marking transition, you know, from a certain age. And now 60 is less meaningful, actually less meaningful, because of course lots of people live until they're 80. So we should probably move the big celebration from 60 to 80. But history and culture are important, and so we continue the tradition. Likewise, this article, actually it's about a special ceremony called I'm not going to be able to say this. I practiced this before, but Quinceañera. I think it says Quinceañera, but I think it's a quinceañera. That's how I would. A quinceañera. It means a special celebration of the 15th year. That's a Spanish word, a quinceañera. If some of my Spanish friends may tune in, and if you want to correct me, please do. This is a special celebration held for many girls in Spanish-speaking communities of the United States and in Latin America. Latin America means South America and Central America too. So from the United States all the way down to the bottom of Chile and Argentina, there are groups of people. It's a cultural thing that the 15th birthday is celebrated. In English-speaking communities, it's usually called Sweet 16. It's a little bit different than this, though, because this is almost like you're a queen for a day, or like you're a junior bride, like you're the center of attention. And the Sweet 16 is similar, I guess, but in American culture, it's somewhat of a, I would say it's somewhat of a demonstration of the family's achievement. So, you know, if you see Sweet 16 videos or you read about them, it's about the father also showing how much money or success he has. So on the 16th birthday, you know, the 16-year-old girl might get a sports car. I can't imagine that happening where I'm from. But if you were from, let's say, California, and your father was a CEO or an actor or a businessman or a property manager or whatever, somebody who had a lot of money, they might decide to demonstrate how much they love their daughter by giving a really expensive gift like a car to their daughter on the 16th birthday. And it's a signal to the daughter, but it's, I think more importantly, it's a signal to everybody else that how rich the family is. This, I like the 15th birthday. This is probably why at first when I saw this picture, I was not really excited about reading this article, is because the Sweet 16 thing sort of represents something different to me. But the 15th birthday in the Spanish community sense is more focused about making the girl feel special, not just by buying something expensive, but by the attention and the decorations and everything that's involved. So as you know, I asked you to talk about a holiday, festival or holiday that is celebrated. So I want you to think about what goes into it. Again, there's kind of two sides. You got to describe, what happens in the holiday, but you also have to think about what the meaning of it is. And like I said, some other people might think Sweet 16 is great. This is a good thing. This is something that the daughter looks forward to. It's her special day. It's not a bad thing, but I have a different opinion, and I already just sort of explained to you that it's really like not all about what the girl wants. It's sort of a demonstration of how successful and how great perhaps the father is by demonstrating. It's kind of like the diamond ring thing. Why do we buy a really expensive engagement ring when we propose to somebody? Is the value or the price of the diamond in proportion to how much we love the person? I would say it's not. It doesn't mean if you spend each hun manwan on a diamond, it doesn't mean you're a better husband or a better boyfriend or you love the person more. It's just an expensive signal. That's my opinion. Okay? Now, you can make your own argument. I'm not telling you what to argue. I'm just saying you need to have an argument in order to make your paragraph effective and your writing more meaningful. So let's get back to the topic. As usual, I'm not going to read the whole thing, just a section of it. So, let's start again. A quinceañera is a special celebration held for many girls in Spanish-speaking communities of the United States and in Latin America on their 15th birthday. The celebration may be different in different countries. The word quinceañera can refer to the celebration or to the girl. This birthday is special because it celebrates that a girl is not a child anymore and has become a woman. That's the rite of passage thing. You're going from child to woman. It's a very important day for many girls, young girls, a day they dream about for a long time. There's the Sweet 16 similarity. Everyone who knows the girl will celebrate it with a church ceremony and a big party. There is a lot of preparation before a quinceañera celebration. The most important and expensive preparation is buying the girl's dress. The dress is like a wedding dress, but it's usually pink. However, today many girls also wear dresses in other light colors. The birthday girl chooses 14 girls and 14 boys. That's a huge number. Usually in Canada, when you get married, you get 3 guys and 3 girls. I mean, it can be more. It could be 5 and 5, but 14 and 14 is a big group. So you got to be popular if you're going to have a good quinceañera. The birthday girl chooses 14 girls and 14 boys who will be their attendants at the ceremony and the dinner dance that follows. Traditionally, these girls and boys are younger than the birthday girl, but sometimes they are the same age. Okay, so you kind of have an entourage, and this is for a Spanish girl. This would be the biggest event until they get married, right? Nowadays, some people don't get married, or some people get married in a private ceremony, or they just sign a paper and then they get married. So for some girls who get married much later in life, or they never get married, this might be the big event where they're the main focus. So it is something that probably is a bit stressful, but generally just exciting. I'm not going to ask you to do any of the homework or discussion or critical thinking. I saw some of the homework that was submitted this week already from the Tuesday class, and it looks like you're getting the idea. Like I said, there's going to be 2 paragraphs that you read on the exam, and you have to answer questions that are similar to the ones that I'm giving you and similar to the ones that are in the book, every chapter. So even if it's not assigned homework and you don't have to give it to me, for the purpose of improving your analytical skills of writing, you can do these every week. Every time I talk about a new chapter or a new unit, all of the questions that follow each topic are the similar format. They go through vocabulary, comprehension, details, discussion, and critical thinking. And that is going to be, you should be used to that, and that is going to be the format of the exam. So when you're studying, like I said, you're not going to know what the subject of the paragraph is, but if you practice, sort of just like the way you practice math, if you practice math questions of the same type, it doesn't matter if the professor changes the numbers, because you know the formula, then you know how to solve it. It's the same kind of thing. Is that I can change the subject and I can change the information, but in the support of the topic. But when it comes to the exam, if you've practiced all semester how to answer the questions, you're going to be comfortable with, like one of the students actually said, "Professor, how do I solve this question?" Well, it's not math, actually, so there is no solution. But I think that was a really good word. I liked the way the student asked the question, is how do I solve a critical thinking question? Well, there are many solutions, and I guess that is, once you get to a certain level of math, there are different ways of solving a question. So likewise, when you read or listen to my lecture and then you try to understand the content better, this is how you do it. You look at the critical thinking section and you say, okay, I just read about a rite of passage in Spanish communities in America, South America and North America. How can I apply these ideas? In your culture, at what age does a girl become an adult? At what age does a boy become an adult? Do you think people actually reach adulthood at different times? Well, the answer is, of course. It's actually from person to person. Physically, we mature at different ages, and mentally, emotionally, we mature at different ages. Let's be honest, some people never completely mature. Not talking about any specific person, maybe. But some people are more mature than others. So you might look at a 10-year-old, and like they have a body of a boy or a girl, but mentally they're more mature than some 25-years that I know or you know. It's definitely possible. There are people who are older than me that behave immaturely. And how are we to judge whether somebody is ready or not? Well, we don't. We just say, okay, the average person starts to change physically, mentally, and emotionally at 15. So everybody's going to celebrate it at the same time. That's basically how we come at that conclusion, is that in the past, for Spanish people, 15 was when they looked more mature and they started to behave more mature. So outwardly, they decided that this would be the best time to mark the occasion. Every culture has different ideas about that. You know, Romeo and Juliet, they were also young teenagers, but we don't ever have a 12-year-old play Juliet and a 15-year-old play Romeo, whatever age they're actually supposed to be. I can't recall. They are teenagers, though. They're young teenagers in actuality, like as far as the play is scripted. And at that age, not that age, but when Shakespeare wrote the play, he was talking about Italian, families in a certain culture. And at that time, it was, fairly common for a young teenage girl to get married. And for boys who were 15, 16 years old to consider finding a girlfriend. I guess it's not really a girlfriend, a fiancé, somebody that they would promise their life to. And if a 16-year-old guy and a 13-year-old girl were going to go through everything that Romeo and Juliet went through, it would be all over the news, because it would be just so strange. So we have to consider all these contexts, right? Likewise, I think in your, celebration, your discussion, your paragraph about a celebration of a holiday, consider all the things that are involved. You can pick something that seems a little bit more local or less international, like Hangul Day, which is really, there's a reason that the government created this holiday. One of the reasons is because people like holidays, and they added another holiday to the calendar, which all Korean people, and me as a Canadian Korean resident, we love it. Everybody likes another holiday. It doesn't matter, I think, what culture you're from. A government who says we're gonna make a new holiday, we're not going to say, oh, that's a terrible idea, don't do that. So Hangul Day was created, I'm not sure, about 8 or 9 years ago. Yeah, it wasn't a holiday when I got here in 2007, but now it is. And you're supposed to do things that are related to the creation of Hangul and acknowledging the importance of Korean language to the Korean culture and Korea as a country, as a nation. Would Korea be an independent state without King Sejong creating a distinctive set of characters for Korean people to use? Maybe, we don't know. It's certainly important. It may be as important as Lee Sun-shin defeating the Japanese in naval battles in the Imjin War. How are we to say which thing, made Korea preserve itself in the face of, possible foreign invasion or cultural changes? You see how easy it would be to take something like Hangul Day and say, okay, well, this is how important it is. You can discuss exactly the facts about it, and then you can go deeper into trying to understand what the reasons are for the holiday existing. So Hangul Day on the surface might seem to be a very simple holiday and the purpose to be very obvious, but if you go through the process of analyzing it, you can easily get down to the bottom of the page, and then you have to stop. So don't dig too deeply. For example, if you're talking about Christmas, well, Christmas is one of the most complicated holidays in the world because it's been exported and imported and modified and commercialized by so many different countries and people that you're probably going to have to narrow it down to German Christmas nowadays, or American Christmas 100 years ago, or Coca-Cola Christmas, or something like that. That would be a much better approach, because just generally talking about Christmas, where you're just going to have to pick one certain, one slice of the holiday, how to celebrate Christmas in England, or what Christmas was like in Roman times, that you got to narrow it down and pick that particular angle of the holiday in order to not overflow with information because I'm only asking you for one page. Now, people were concerned, 250 words, 300 words, whatever. If you go over the page, I'm not concerned about that. I just don't want it to be too short, essentially. So if you end up writing a page and a half, you got to stop, okay? If you've only written a half a page, you have to keep going. So get close to a page. Over is no problem. If you're at 250 or 350 words, it doesn't really matter. Just it needs to be long enough that you develop your argument. That's really the point. So don't, as I said before, don't get too concerned about word counts or, number of lines or sentences. Just write about a page. And if you go over that, that's fine. Just you've got to conclude and stop somewhere before a page and a half, and that's the limit to the length. Okay, so that's it for this week's lecture. And as usual, if you have some questions or concerns, then send me an email and I'll get back to you. You should expect by the end of the weekend that you've gotten your grade and some comments about your first assignment, and that should give you an idea of where you stand, in terms of your progress in the class, and maybe some advice for you to improve for your second assignment. Okay? Thank you everyone for listening. Again, I apologize for being slow to upload this lecture this week, but as I explained, a little bit of chaos Sunday, Monday, Tuesday made it difficult to get this lecture finished. So please bear with me. We'll make it through this semester yet. Thank you for listening and have a nice day.